Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Theravada Buddhism series, Dhamma talk number 51. Root, Hetu. Pali word Hetu, translated as root. Hetu means a condition, a cause, a reason. Unwholesome mental factors such as greed, lobha, anger, dosa, and delusion, moha, are bad roots or evil roots. And beautiful mental factors such as non-greed, non-anger, non-delusion, alobha, dosa, moha, are good roots. So there are two sets of roots, bad roots and good roots. The three good roots arises with beautiful, wholesome, resultant and functional consciousness. They arises with beautiful roots, but under beautiful there are three: wholesome, resultant and functional. Resultant and functional roots, or resultant and functional consciousness, are also called indeterminate abhyagata, meaning neither wholesome or unwholesome. So those are the three good roots. So altogether 6 roots. These 6 roots are always conditioning consciousness, mental factors, mind-made material, and rebirth material. They are always conditioning those 4 groups. Unwholesome roots causes inferior consciousness and harmful and unhealthy material, rupa. Because these unwholesome roots pollute them, that's why they become inferior and harmful. Wholesome roots condition associated mind and matter to become pure. What it means is, whenever there's a wholesome roots, of course there are mentality and materiality there, nama and rupa, and they condition them to become pure. That's a conditioning process. And also we need to know the good roots and the bad roots, they cannot arise together, just like day and night. When there's day, there's no night. When there's night, there's no day. Hetu is like roots of a tree. That's why it's translated as root in English. The tree will grow slowly and deteriorate if the primary roots get infected with disease. The tree has many roots, of course. Many they branches out, but there's one primary root. It's the biggest one that goes deep down into the soil and earth, and they are called roots that sucks or drink water for the tree to be alive or grow. That water drinking main primary root. So if the primary root is healthy, the tree will become fun and overgrown. If it's unhealthy, it will grow very slowly, dwarf-like, and then deteriorate and even die. These roots, you don't have to look into the book or into the video. These roots are with us, within us. So we can always reflect on what they are doing at a given moment within us. So that's why you look the roots, not in the book, but in your body and mind. Ordinary people, Putujana, or the first stream winner, Sotapanna, and once returner, Sakadagami. In other words, average people and the first two noble person, they all have 6 roots. And these 6 roots are conditioning their behavior and manners. Non-returner, Anagami, has no anger. Because of that, they have only 5 roots. Roots of anger is no more, so there remain 5. The Arahat has 3 good, indeterminate roots. They are good roots, but they are neither wholesome or unwholesome, called indeterminate. So, that's an intro on the roots, Hetu. What do we do with it? Knowing the faults of the bad roots and the benefits of the good roots will inspire us to avoid or develop these roots. Bad roots, evil roots, condition the 10 suffering-producing actions. We have talked about that before. In brief, killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, slandering, using rude and harsh words, frivolous talks, thinking about how to get others' possessions in a crooked and wicked way, thinking about how to hurt and harm others, and embracing the wrong view. The 10 suffering-producing actions. And bad roots are always conditioning them. Good roots causes to refrain or avoid the 10 suffering-producing actions. These good roots causes kusala karma, wholesome karma. By avoiding them, by reframing the 10 suffering-producing actions, you are developing wholesome karma, kusala karma. So we now know what are the faults of the bad roots and what are the benefits of good roots. So let's go further into that and see one root at a time in each category. Non-greed, alobha, non-greed. That's a root. The root of non-greed. It causes generosity. And generosity is always devoid of stinginess and grasping. And generosity promotes sharing, giving, charity. So that root is feeding these branches and fruits and leaves of generosity, sharing, giving, and charity. The non-greed root. And also it is the cause of rebirth in the human and deva realms. One who has good roots, good non-greed root, rebirth will be in human or deva realm. Non-anger root, non-anger. It conditions morality and loving kindness, and it produces welfare, happiness, and peace of others. Because non-anger means you are not angry. You have no anger. People who has no anger would not kill, would not steal, would not lie, would not commit sexual misconduct, and so on. So that means automatically that person is endowed with morality. That's why it said non-anger condition morality. And if one is not hurting and harming others, that person has loving kindness. It looks for the welfare and safeguarding of others. So we can now look specifically non-anger, condition, morality, and loving kindness. And such people will be reborn in the human, deva, or Brahma realms. And the third good root is non-delusion, amoha. It causes mental development, bhavana. It causes bhavana, mental development. If one dies with non-delusion, or in other words, with wisdom, one will be reborn in the human, deva, Brahma, or Ram, or even attain Nibbana. That's non-delusion, wisdom. Non-greed and non-anger cannot make one attain Nibbana. But non-delusion, amoha, wisdom, pinya, will make one attain Nibbana, liberation from all form of suffering. So those are the three good roots. We go one by one. And these are written in the scripture. Now let's go and see the three bad roots one at a time. Lobha, greed. It causes or it conditions miserliness, stinginess, attachment, and grasping. And these actions assures rebirth, one in the hungry ghost realm. Greed conditions one to be reborn in the hungry ghost realm. The anger root. Anger causes immorality because you break all the precepts because of anger. People without morality will kill, steal, lie, and rape and cause hurt and harm and chaos. And such people will be reborn in the hell realm, Nariya, hell realm. The third bad root are moha, delusion. Delusion causes, or delusion is the reason for uncertainty, indecisiveness, and makes one not inclined to meditate. Such peoples will be reborn in the animal realms. Highly deluded person will be reborn in the animal realms because animals are ignorant, deluded. They don't have much reasoning power except to eat and breed and live, bullying or with fear. Okay, so these are in the scriptures. But our elders, ancient elders, also expand and explain nitty-gritty stuff, the faults and the benefits of these. Let's go and see what they explain. Because the elders knows the wishes of the Buddha, what Buddha meant when he delivered a sermon, a sutta, or a line or a phrase. Here is how they explain in more detail. Non-greed, alobha. It is the cause of refraining sense pleasure. Once one has a non-greed root, it refrains from self-pleasures, or in fact, they have less interest in sense pleasure due to non-greed. And of course, if you have less interest in sense pleasure, one of the sense pleasure is food, taste. Because of that, they eat sensibly. And when you eat sensibly, the right food, the right amount, the right time, and so on, it causes good health. Okay? Right nutrition, right amount, produce good health. And also, people with non-greeds, their manners and behaviors are gentle and polite. Basically, it is a model for healthy living. Not only that you eat sensibly, all your behavior and manners are polite and gentle. It makes one, gives one a healthy living. One with non-greed has more than they need. If you have non-greed, whatever you have, it is more than you need. And that's why it causes sharing, giving, and charity. That's how it arises. You have excess all the time, and this excess you share and you give. And at the same time, the law of karma, the more one gives, the more one receives back in return, in this life as well as in the future lives. So, non-greed is the cause of the abundance and wealth in this life as well as in future lives. Non-anger, it is the cause of avoiding habits that produce physical and mental suffering. Some people already become a habit to cause hurt and harm. But if you have non-anger, it becomes the cause to avoid them. It causes youthful aging. Everybody wants it. Oh, looks very young, a lot younger than your age, my age, and so on. Some people even buy all sorts of creams and cosmetics to make oneself look young. Here, you don't have to pay anything. Just don't be angry. Just live without anger. You will look very youthful and beautiful. So that's why it causes youthful aging and beauty. People who are not angry are smiling. Whenever one smiles, regardless how much you think one is ugly, at that moment it's beautiful. A smile makes a person beautiful. And that is non-anger is the base. It is the cause of having many friends and loved ones. People who are not angry, people who are smiling, everybody wants to be happy, friendly with them. That's why it is the cause of having many friends and people who loves you. Due to love and kindness in their heart, they have welfare for others. They have patience. That having patience is the cause of having many friends. That is what non-anger condition wants to become. Non-delusion is the cause of practicing the middle path. It causes long life as one has the wisdom to know what is suitable and appropriate to navigate the obstacle and dangers of life. If you know how to navigate the dangers and obstacle of life, your life is longer. You don't get into accident. You don't get killed. Such a person is called a well-rounded person. Non-deluded person is a well-rounded person from the Buddhist definition. Now let's look at the bad roots, the evil roots, one by one, based on how the elders explain. Greed in food causes indigestion and the related illnesses due to overeating. Due to overeating as well as unhealthy food, lots of fats, lots of salts, lots of sugar, ill health drain physical and mental energy, which is very, very essential for Dharma practice. When you're greedy, you're stingy. Stingy people do not like to give, share, or donate. Because of that, the effect is they become poor in future lives. They were born poor in future's life because one is so stingy and miserly in this life. That's a cause. And the effect is born poor in future lives. Anger root causes immature aging. It burns the mind-producing material. Anger burns and destroys the mind-producing material, rupa. It makes one look ugly. At the moment of anger, when a person is angry, look at that person's face. It's really distorted and ugly. Regardless how handsome may be, at that moment it's very ugly. That's what anger makes. It also causes to lose friends and attendants and fans. Such people are impatient and they are also very sensitive and they can't stand any criticism. That's what anger, dosa, conditions a person to become. The third one, delusion, moha. It's the cause of getting dull and dim-witted because one does not know what is suitable and appropriate, which causes dreadful mistakes in life, right and wrong. So, you make a lot of mistakes in life. Not knowing is more dangerous than not having.